Welcome to Lifestyles of the Strange and Exotic, Classic Star Trek Book Review. Now this is the last one in this sort of second grouping of books here, which is why I'm in the same clothing here on all four videos. And this should be in your, if you're a TOS Trekkie, and they do have an Next-Gen version, they might even have DS9 and Voyager too, I'm not sure, but this, you just have to have this. This is a must-have. And this is the Nitpickers Guide for Classic Trekkers. And it's set up by episode. And this is from, author of the Nitpickers Guide for Next-Gen Trekkers, Phil Farrand. And this is out of trade paperbacks as well. Late 23rd century, Starship Enterprise, space, the final frontier, is fertile territory for nitpickers. Which is the communications button on Captain Kirk's chair? The lowest, but sometimes he hit the yellow alert button. Whoops. When they're not talking light years, does the crew use meters or miles? Both. Evidently the metric system never did catch on. Okay, call us fan addicts. We've seen all 6 movies, we're counting down for number 7, we've viewed every show, all 3 seasons, all 79 episodes, more than once. Many times, more than once. The sets are a hoot, the uniforms are off the rack. Special effects done in somebody's basement. But the stories, the concepts, the incredibly good actors, and the message of Gene Roddenberry's classic Star Trek have never been equaled. Of course, neither have the screw-ups. And that is what makes being a nitpicker so much fun. So get out your videotapes, check your local listings for reruns, and take this volume in hand to discover changed story premises, plot oversights, production problems, equipment oddities, scientific improbabilities, favorite scenes, trivia tote boards, fun facts, and more. Covers every original uncut show for all 3 seasons, 6 movies, and the rarely seen pilot, The Cage. And it's really, really funny. Now, like I said, it's set up by episode, and he kind of mentions in the introduction how he set it up. He did it by air date and not production date, which kind of switches things around. Now, I just sort of randomly opened the book, and this is the Carbonite Maneuver, which is not one of my favorites, but still a relatively good show. And this is out of season 1. You have the title, the star dates, and in the middle you have your command signet, I should say, and it gives you 2 questions, 2 trivia questions. How many degrees of overlap does Spock allow during the starfield photography? And how often does McCoy give Kirk a physical? Now, you get a synapse of what the episode is about, plus a great line. Oh, he's starting a countdown. And that's Bailey after Sulu corrects him that they only have 7 minutes, 45 seconds left, not 8 minutes. Then he goes into his great moments of that particular episode. Then he goes into the syndication cuts. And now that they have the remastered, they pretty much just hack and slash that stupid show now, because it's like, just because you're adding a fancy ship shot doesn't mean you chop up the stupid, dialogue in the show. This is Star Trek. We're not going to have a problem if it actually makes 60 minutes. It's like, why? Most of the time they'll chop up an episode to fit like commercials or some stupid thing in like that. So when they chop scenes, a lot of times they'll screw the entire flow of an episode. Like a line will be taken out that totally alters the meaning of the next line. And he kind of puts some of the cuts in here and mentions kind of what it does to the episode. Some of them are just like reaction shots, whatever. Then it goes into plot oversights, kind of like, Kirk must be an incredibly charismatic speaker. When he encourages the crew, a second cutaway to the hallway scene shows a man frozen in mid-stride. Kirk has 7 for several seconds, and the guy hasn't even put both feet flat on the ground yet. Changed premises and sort of technical snafus and continuity problems. Answers to the trivia questions, and he adds the closing, the stills you see in the end of the episode that are behind the credits. He tells you what episode they're from, and some of them aren't even really from an episode. And from the first season, the last frame in the credits is Vina showing off her Lee press-on nails, the cage, and every time it's a different joke. And this goes through all the way. And then you have romance tote board. Number of past loves for Kirk, 8. Number of times Sulu gapes at an alien female, 2. And then there's different little quizzes. And then there's, this one's is Starfleet Military, which is kind of interesting. And goes into the movies up into Undiscovered Country. So, like I said, this was 94? Intergalactic Trek Awards. Yep, 1994. So this came out during the 25th anniversary. And it is funny, and it's like, wow, you know, and you go back to the episode, and it's like, okay, now I see it, you know. And even more so in, like, the DVD, because the quality is so much more. You can see, like, the seam in Spock ears. Now, I don't know if they ever, probably not, did the unscrewed around with version of Star Trek on, like, Blu-ray. I have it on DVD. I think they just go straight to, like, the super fancy, you know. I mean, it's good that they did that, you know, sort of updated the you know, visuals, but that's not what Star Trek was about, you know. It's like, you realize the 66 version, you know, was using toilet paper and paper mache for their props. You know, that's kind of what made it fun. You know, changing it to, like, you know, all CG stuff doesn't really quite fit the show. It just, in a way, doesn't work. And especially when you have to chop up the episode to put in the special effects. No. If you can get your hands on the old version that hasn't been screwed with, that's the one to watch. And that's the one you'll probably get the most comparison out of. So they'll be chopping up more. So you need a bigger book. So, yeah. So there's a next-gen version of this. And there's probably DS9 Voyager too, I don't know. So, I definitely must have. I mean, it's just a giggle. I mean, you realize just how how hard it was to put the episodes together. And it's like, the writing was good, but it's like, oh, that's the idea. Return to Tomorrow. Yeah, it covers different things you won't find much of anyplace else. Hairballs. Coughing up a dribble. And this was originally $12.95, so I don't know what it would be now. And this is The Nitpickers Guide for Classic Trekkers by Phil Farrand. And it is out of trade paperbacks. And there's actually, I think there's an audio version of this that's read by Denise Crosby that played Tasha Yar. I'm pretty sure it was this one. It was really kind of weird. But a must-have for any TOS Trekkie or next-gen Trekkie that actually has a sense of humor and is kind of interested in the, you know, background of Trek too. So, a must-have. Thank you for watching. Comment down below. Tell me if they did do the Nitpickers Guide for the newer ones. I'd be kind of interested in knowing that. Especially for, like, Voyager. And, I don't know. I never got into Enterprise. I saw maybe 3 episodes. I just not impressed with the concept. I don't know. But then when you've watched Quantum Leap, it's kind of hard to see him as a captain in there. But then, who knows? You might see the guy that was with him in Quantum Leap was probably somewhere in the ship, you know. So, comment, rate, do subscribe, and I shall see you all in my next vid.